All right, part two. Looking forward to week what's now 10. Yeah, it's big
Oh yeah,
matchups all
get my
across
week
the
straight
board.
here. Sure, I'll hear
Yeah.
about that from Risky Dipper.
But we'll just kind of look at lineups, buys, see what we got going on here. And first matchup's mine against Team Bucher. Tough task. Uh, you know, I'm kind of on Stevenson being on bye really hurts me. Mike Williams being out, not great. So my receiving position obviously is a lot to be desired. DJ Moore, guy's a train wreck. Made a little pickup for Terrence Marshall. Guy's been having a couple days. Dolchich in there. Fryermuth bad matchup, but I don't feel too good about this one. And Tony Pollard, Z coming back, it's going to help me. But Kenneth Walker scares me. Uh, you know, Definitely fading some guys here. It looks like a little bit. Jonathan Taylor might play, but
If Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, you might be in luck right there, and you have to keep Pollard in there. So
yeah. But even that being said, I don't even know if he can go to Taylor right now. Dude's been bad. I mean, like we
yeah,
talked
and
about before, guys has not been good. But
one thing you have in your favor is you're up against Cortland Sutton, and that guy's just been like no fault of his own. More so, I would assume Russell Wilson, but that guy's just been unreliable this whole season too.
oh, for sure. And yeah, Russ has definitely been the problem there because the guy's put up numbers his whole career. I mean, he's a good receiver, just quarterback plays in subpar, but um, we'll see. I'm hoping I can get to 6-4 here. Usually once you get to that 6 win, you're kind of comfy in the playoff, looking pretty positive in the playoff atmosphere. Hoping to get some guys healthy, get Marquise back, get Mike Williams back, and Damian Pierce has been my stud. Um, you
Yeah, I
know,
think
I,
this is.
but
I think Alvin Kamara, we can expect a little more out of him this week against Pittsburgh too. That's
yeah,
someone that we
for
expect
sure.
to put up a lot of numbers, and
And Fields is going against Detroit, and that team does not play defense at all. So, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm
Debo there.
feeling
I think you got this one in the
I feel
secured
okay.
already.
I feel okay, but Kenneth Walker scares me. I mean, what's he projected? What do we got? 15. Yeah, I mean, he could still pop off for 20 piece, and we'll see. But pretty good matchups for me across the board for some of these guys. Pierce is just a guy who's going to get the ball a ton, and so we'll see.
Oh,
But
for
uh,
sure.
but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But moving on, we got the Rock Boys and we got Team Nate. Have we got lineup set yet, or we got people on by? Trying to see. It looks like we moderately have lineup set, or not really. They're Rock Boys got their line down. But I mean, looking at the team overall, um, Tua seems to be the guy he's going to go with. He's not like in post Call of Duty Kyler. So
Yeah, you're not seeing him playing too much, and I think you can expect a little bit more out of Murray this week than before, and Tua might run into a little bit more opposition than he's used to against Cleveland too. So that
yeah, I mean, Myles Garrett's no joke. He's probably the defensive player of the year, or at least he's a finalist for right now. But Eckler, been a real stud. Just pour some more talking sauce here.
overall, this is definitely a strong team with Amari Cooper and Travis Kelce too. This is
Yeah,
definitely you don't have like a team full of studs, but week to week, this team is consistent and they're winning games too. So this would be a nice upset to see if Team Nate can pull it off. But
well,
unfortunately,
just looking at it
I don't see
here,
it happening.
Darren Waller, playing against that real busted Indy team. I mean, that talk about a train wreck. Hiring Jeff Saturday out of nowhere as to be your new head coach. And dude coached high school. That was about it. Good center, good player, but geez.
Dude,
But you see him with Waller's going to be healthy against that bad Indy defense he's going in. Assume Dak's going to probably go in over Trevor. I mean, that'd be a ballsy play to keep Trevor in, but we've seen crazier things happen. But
yeah, it's
even course strong. Little bit rough in the running back position, especially with Mixon on by. And Michael Carter, he's been putting it together a little bit, but he seems a little bit of bye week trouble here in the running back position. I think that's going to probably be the difference here. Terry's been playing really well since Heineke's been playing, and Kelsey's a monster, best tight end in the league. Hard to argue that. Yeah, Rock Boys looking I would say looking at a pretty lopsided victory here, honestly.
Yeah, I think the move here is going to be if he puts in Dak and Dak and Lamb end up having a good game, you might see a lot more points out of Dak than he's projected right there. But outside of that, I think he needs to possibly look for another defense to maybe sub in there because I just am not seeing Miami putting up the type of points he's hoping for against Cleveland
Yeah,
either.
they've had some pretty good games here, but I mean, Ravens lit them up in that heartbreaker, and then a lot of nothing games really. I mean, Chicago's got a pretty pedestrian. I mean, they put up 30. Chicago put up 32. I mean, Justin Fields, like we saw before, put up 50 last week, but I mean, that's a lot of points to be given up in games.
This is for sure a team that needs to be, looking into trades. I think there's definitely some folks out there that would be willing to work with this team just to, maybe take a shot at, knocking Rock Boys down and not having to face them, later in the season with quite as high of a win-loss ratio.
Yeah, but I will say with Rock Boys, man, I've said it all year with this team. I mean, they are one injury away from just total peril.
For sure. We almost saw that with Tua too when he was down for a little while there. His team was in desperate need of help and luckily, managed to pull it off and hang in there. But this is definitely playing with fire right here with this team.
For sure. All right, going to move on here to two of your favorite guys, the Milkman versus Fentanyl. Fentanyl's in a tough spot. He picked up Daniel Jones, looks like off the waiver wire. So that looks like he's going to be QB1 this week for Team Fentanyl. I mean, he's playing that bad Houston defense. So, I mean, it's probably the right play. Probably the right guy to go get and try to make it happen. But a lot of good and a lot of bad with him.
This is a quarterback too that can step it up when at the end of the game and put some points on the board too. So it's definitely a good fourth quarter quarterback to have in there, and especially if that team's down, watching them pop back up might be just the move to have. So hopefully he doesn't hit.
Yeah, they have been a team that's come back in the fourth quarter. Yeah, that is true. They play disciplined football. I mean, they got Saquon, as that's the rock that they rock with him. They go with him and. But looking at the Milkman here, I mean, tough matchup against Denver. Denver's got a real strong defense. Even though they just traded Wade Chubb, that's Bradley Chubb. That is for anyone who might be confused about which Chubb that is. But no, I mean that's tough defense still. AJ Dillon's been roll up and down. Dallas defense, they can run a little bit. Milkman. Let's see what we got. I mean, Cam Akers, absolute nightmare of a situation for the Milkman here with this guy. I mean. Healthy scratches last two games, nothing burger. It's basically, hardly, I mean, barely touched the ball last game. That's a bad offense and seems to be a guy that Sean McVay does not like. And, Robert Woods, another one, just bad matchup, bad quarterback situation. It's looking pretty rough for the Milk. I mean, he is projected to win right now, but, with moving Jones in there, I mean, that's going to bump the projection up 17. And I think Devonta Smith, can bounce back here. I mean, got a good matchup against Washington on Monday night. They give up a lot of big plays. Could be the big day for him.
Chris he very Godwin, well might get targeted a lot more that game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially what AJ Brown's been doing recently. That guy's been hedging everything. The man. I mean, we got healthy Zeke in there. I think Fentanyl can do it. I think Milkman's got a lot of players who are all or nothing kind of guys, touchdown dependent on that, they do have a good matchup. Amon-Ra could have a big game. I mean, he's been a little bit down here of late, but I mean, he's got the ability. Look at all those targets. I mean, the guy's just begging to score a touchdown here.
Just got to get in there.
Hasn't scored since week 2. It could be a big day. Tough matchup, coin flip. I think it can go either way.
Milkman's definitely one of those teams that looks great on paper, probably one of the better ones in the league, and then just week to week just somehow does not perform versus Fentanyl, it'll be definitely interesting to see without that powerhouse at the top and then Mark Andrews being out. Like this team is proven that it's definitely dependent on those two players. So we'll see what happens. I think he's got a very good shot with Daniel Jones coming in as quarterback. So this might be a better move for him, more consistency. There.
Yeah, no, I think the game could easily go either way. A lot of guys in these lineups that are rooting for touchdowns and going to be all or nothing performances. So we'll see how it shapes up. But
I'm kind of hoping that Fentanyl might pull this one off, just because I think that might be an easier team to beat later in the season. I think Milkman going into postseason would be a pretty tough matchup right there.
Yeah, December or January football against Derrick Henry is not a fun game to play if you're going against him.
Oh, definitely.
But all right, moving on here to a couple of your favorites here. What are you saying off first look?
Man, just these projections right here alone are enough. Makes you kind of wonder what's been going on with Dicker Downs. Start at the top, and now you're looking at a pretty even matchup against Risky Dipper. No one wants to be in that boat for sure in this league. So let's see.
I mean, the biggest thing that glares out to me about little Dicker Downs' problems has just been on draft day. I mean, guy didn't take any running backs. I mean, his RB1 was DeAndre Swift. I mean, we know what that's been, where is he even rostered anymore? No, I think he dropped him. He had Chase Edmonds as his RB2, and he's no longer with the team. So, locker disputes there possibly, or something going on. But yeah, the rough running back room. Kyle Pitts, huge disappointment, like we talked about. But yeah, it's I kind of lean off first impressions here. I mean, who's Little Dicker Downs going to put in a wide receiver 2? He's going to ride with Paris Campbell. That's a risk. That's a risky dipper play right there.
And then Mark, let's see, look down through here. So Mike Evans too is another one where he's projected to have 12.1 points, but this guy very well might miss all of his targets on the field. So
that Seattle defense has been pretty strong all this season. So
for sure, and they have the ball a lot too throughout the game. Whereas Tampa Bay, I don't think Evans is going to be Brady's number one target, to be honest, after his past couple weeks performances. And then you got Singletary in there, and Singletary's one that I think people have more expectations for and doesn't perform. So this will be an interesting week. And he's definitely not getting any points out of tight end either.
This might be a behind closed door meeting too, because he might slide Najee in over Singletary, because Singletary's got that tough matchup against Minnesota. Najee, as bad as he's been, is getting the ball at a relatively decent clip that we talked about before. So
that's a player that can perform too. And I think he's looking for an opportunity to shine that light that he's been looking for all season. So this might be the game for sure. This is also a manager that I wouldn't be surprised if he just keeps him on the bench too, and ends up making the wrong decision.
Well, at any rate, despite the bad talks of other managers in the league, I do lean Risky Dipper here. I think he's got a better. I think he just got a better lineup this week. I mean, he loses Justin Tucker. Running backs are a mess. No real wide receiver to put in over Paris Campbell, and Paris has had a couple nice weeks there, but ever since they moved to Sammy up in Indy, and obviously we talked about Jeff Saturday as new head coach, but they got a guy calling plays this Sunday who really hasn't even. I think he's mocked up plays in the meetings, but he's never called a play on the field at any level. So I think that's probably going to be a touchdown, and that's about it. And I think Will Dicker Downs got a lot of people on his team that just are underperforming. And
I think Dicker Downs' biggest problem here is he's got a couple of players coming off of Atlanta that just have not been performing for him week to week, and I think that, and in Carolina as well. So that's a tough spot to be on when you have these teams that just aren't putting up a high amount of touchdown volume and all that. You're kind of dependent on a touchdown for some of these players, and to go into a game with your running backs only being projected at around 10 points is not too impressive. So
not at all.
Yeah, I expected more out of this team, especially being led by Josh Allen. But even that, I see maybe being a tough game against Minnesota. I think that'll be a high scoring game for sure, though.
Yeah, I think this one will come down to we got any Monday nighters, but no, it doesn't. No Monday night, so this one will be decided on Sunday. But
and Dicker Downs needs to win this game if he wants to contend for playoff position too.
Not even he might. I mean, at this point, he might just be worried about sneaking in. But I mean, Risky Dipper. I mean, he has the potential. I mean, with a guy like Mahomes up top, and just a lot of potential in that lineup.
This team's made a comeback. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. Get a couple wins in the next coming weeks.
All right. Well, moving on to someone who underperformed, a couple underperforming teams here, really with a lot of underperforming players as well. Following the same tune as the last two, but geez, I mean, we're looking a little bye week issues here for Wuhan. We do have a couple of defenses and kickers to put in, so that is good. That will help the projection, make us a little bit tighter. But
He's going to be
man,
swapping out Hurst with the Geske there, and that's a move that no one wants to see happen right there. Hurst has been pretty reliable all season, and
yeah, it's been a
Geske,
pleasant surprise.
yep. So that's going to be a an interesting matchup there to see how type of points we see get put up against Cleveland. I'm just not seeing it out of this tight end this week.
Now I'm not seeing a lot of points in this game all in all. I mean, these projections feel right, even though we got some players to swap out. I mean, this could be two sub 100 games here. I mean, Hurts could have a big night on Monday night, but I mean, this guy Rodgers has been an absolute nightmare.
Oh yeah, I'd be staying away from him. I'd put Stafford in right now.
But
Oh,
even he's been pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, I would say the better matchup is against Arizona versus Dallas. But geez, I mean, not a lot of points to be had on this Wuhan Weezer team that could really, in my opinion, slide down the standings here pretty quickly with unless Rodgers and Allaire and a lot of these big name guys turn it around. Juju's been a nice add. But man, a lot of missed opportunity, a lot of injuries. McCaffrey coming back too. That's going to be a huge plug and play. That leads me to lean to Wuhan actually this week, just based off the projections and based off of just what Team Coleman's kind of been going through in the wide receiver room.
certainly.
Anything else? Anything you want to add?
I think that Hurts might put up some serious points against Washington this week, so
Yeah.
we might see something crazy happen there. That's definitely not going to happen in the quarterback for old Wuhan Weezer over here
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's the opportunity for Coleman here to sneak out a win would be Hurts having a big day. But
Sure.
that's kind of where I see that. But then here, tough matchup here for you.
Yeah, this will be a good one right here.
What are we seeing? I mean, you're healthy. I mean, you got your guys. Not really any bye week issues for you.
This is a good time for Burrow to be on bye week. Team Phenom couldn't ask for a better time to play this team, and there's no doubt that Georgia's team is the strongest team in the league right now, week to week. So this is definitely one of those bye weeks that he's taking a big hit on. He's generating a lot of points between Burrow and Boyd, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I think, and with putting in the Titans D, I mean, the projections are only 10 points off, but I mean, ET, we got to talk about this guy. I mean, holy moly, look at that. I mean, he's as soon as they traded James Robinson. I mean, that's a low projection. So I mean, this guy alone can close that gap. And
on the flip side, though, it is against Kansas City, so we might not see quite as much play out of him there.
Yeah, but Kansas City. I mean, the score might be high, but they throw the ball to ETN a lot, and Kansas City defense is not great. So that's, I think ETN's just a guy. He's matchup proof, and he's just a guy that's going to get the ball a ton.
I foresee this being a high-scoring game right here on both teams. Not the fantasy teams, but the actual, Jacksonville and Kansas City.
Oh, for sure. I would agree with that. But I think tough matchup for you, getting a little lucky not facing Derek Carr, but I mean, Chubb's got to find the end zone, which he's done all year. I mean, Cooper Kupp's been your saving grace, but Metcalf, I think that could be where, I mean, he's been playing okay last couple of weeks, but that's where you could fall into some trouble if he doesn't have a good game. If Tampa, cues on him and locks him down, then you're looking at a pretty tough matchup here. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins and Justin Jefferson, those guys could put up 80 points by themselves.
Those are some names to be reckoned with week to week right there, and then especially with Hopkins going against the Rams, I think that's going to be a high-scoring game for him, to say the least.
For sure, that Rams team is bad at football. I would definitely say
night and day difference from last year.
But I would say
I think this matchup's a little bit closer to the 50-50 realm than the way it's looking right now.
Yeah, I would say this is going to be a coin flip game. I lean. I don't know which way I lean because that's pretty even down the line here. You do have the running back advantage, but I mean, tough decision here. to be playing Derek Carr. I think that's going to
Yeah,
be the
that's
difference
definitely a
maker.
risky move right there. If he puts up a good 15, 20 points, then this
I
this
think we
game
got
could
a
go
ball
either
game.
way. But yeah, that's the
But
same thing with Brady though. Brady all season's been kind of hit or miss. So
yeah, but
the more
Team Phenom did take a pretty brutal loss against Zach Wilson earlier this year.
that
Putting
is
up only
true.
4 points. So, you never know. Team susceptible. But all in all, tough. Gonna be. I think this is the premier matchup. To fight for first place in
One
the
of
league.
the bigger things I've noticed too is with that whole flex playing Hunt down there. You got if Chubb's doing the majority of the scoring, then it's you're not looking at a whole lot of points on that second running back right there.
Not at
Not a whole
all.
lot of other options for someone to plug into that
No, rough bye
flex
weekend,
spot this week.
and your best players on bye. So
Yep, that's true. That guy has been the lifeline of the team. But luckily, we got the Bills defense in there. But
the tough
Kirk Cousins
matchup
has
though.
been known to
Against
throw a couple
Redskins.
interceptions for sure too each week. So
They're playing Sunday at 1 o'clock though, and that is when Kirk plays good ball. So
that is true. And Kirk has shown that how many quarterbacks out there right now are 7-1. So
yeah, I mean, little Kirk O'Chain's really been that guy this year. I mean, he's been playing pretty solid ball, all in all. That nuts, but I mean,
consistent to say the least, though.
for sure.
We'll see how he does against Buffalo. That's for sure. It could be a totally different game, though.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up. Here's where we are again. Projected playoff bracket, just sneaking in the future a little bit here. That's what we're looking like. Outside looking in here, these all these teams I think have potential to make a move in, and some of these guys have potential to make a move out. I mean, we're looking. I mean, just right off the rip, right here, and even right here, it's going to be a fight to the finish for sure.
Yeah, I think Dicker Downs and Fentanyl are definitely on the chopping block right now, and then Milkman showing that he's a pretty serious team to be contended with, even if all the way down there. And then Risky Dipper making the rise. That guy's been winning games. So
yeah, and like we talked about with the standings, I mean, last place, only 4 games out, and we got how many weeks we got left?
A lot more than 4 weeks to go. So
we got 5 to go until the playoffs. So we're getting there. But
let's take a look at George's team and see who he's got up the next couple of weeks. See what that number 1 team's looking like.
All right, let's see the matchups here. So obviously we know where you guys are playing. Let's go to scoreboard here. Week 11, who we got? He's got Team Coleman.
Well, that'll be a tough game right there. But he will have his quarterback back.
Yep. And then I'm on the chopping block. I played in
another
week 1.
Tough game too, though.
I played in week 1. Got the best of me there. Hopefully I can seek some revenge. Then Rock Boys, that'll be a pretty high marquee matchup.
He's got 3 tough weeks in a row for sure.
And then to close out the regular season, I mean, he's got then Team Bucher. I mean, that's not an easy road. Not an easy road.
Yeah, I think a lot of his wins might be, that he's got a strong team. I'm not going to take that away from him, but he's also, got all of his easier wins behind him. So
yeah,
some of those teams that he took advantage of earlier on in the season are, making a total comeback. So it's definitely anyone's season still. We might have a better idea coming out of this week.
Yeah, well, that does it for us, this week. We will be back next week on Tuesday, I believe is the plan. Talk a little more football, see how the week goes. Maybe get a guest on here, get an outside perspective, other than us 2 geniuses. But any closing statements?
No, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this week goes. It's nice, having these bye weeks and seeing which teams and managers were able to balance, those bye weeks, because that's where you're going to make your money or not. So I think this is yet another week of that. You got a lot of teams that rely on quarterbacks and running backs that don't have those players. So it should be an interesting week. And I think we'll be surprised to see, probably 50% of the games go in the opposite direction than we thought. So
yeah, I've been wrong before. But yeah, well, this has been fun. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, but until next time.
Yeah, thanks again, Matt.
Yeah, no problem, dude.